He's an advocate and has done and is a management consultant on labor law. He has done his MBA in human resource HR and also done his LLB and DLL honors. He has a decade of experience in HR. Previously, he was associated with RLS Consulting, Aparajita Corporate Service Private Limited, Sintel Limited. He has vast experience in MNC, Indian corporate and MSMEs. Currently, he is the co-founder and partner consultant at SCM Advisor LLP. With this introduction, I would hand over the proceedings to Advocate Aniket Shelar. Sir, please.
Good morning, all of you, and warm welcome. First of all, I'd like to thank Prabhadevi Dada Study Circle for inviting me today here. Today, I'm going to cover PF and ESIC Act. So first, we'll look upon Employee State Insurance Act 1948. So every act have their own object. So why this act enacted? So this act enacted to secure sickness, maternity, disablement, and medical benefit of weaker section of workers, to provide funeral expenses, to provide benefit for the dependent benefit. So PF and ESIC both are Social Security Act, and they are made for the weaker section of the society, which cover workers and employees. So applicability of this act is applicable to all the factories employing 10 and more person, with the aid of power, without aid of power. Shop and establishment employing 20 and more person, only in case of Maharashtra. In other cases, 10 and more employees. Like if you other than Maharashtra state, in remaining state, it is applicable on 10 employees. Only in Maharashtra, it is applicable on 20 employees. Any other notified establishment by the government. Like recently, government of Maharashtra has also introduced that all the hazardous factory, if they don't have 10 employees, then also they have to register under shop and this ESIC Act. So employees and wages up to 21,000 per month, excluding OT, okay, they are all covered under ESIC Act. So again, other than Arunachal Pradesh and Lakshadweep, all the states are covered under ESIC Act. There are some other initial part of the district of some state, they are not yet included in the ESIC. But apart from Arunachal Pradesh and Lakshadweep Pradesh, there are many of state have ESIC Act enacted in their premise. So employees entitlement for the coverage. Who is liable to register under ESIC? So employed in any canteen of factory, office, shop, or club, person engaged in distribution and sale of product, medical representative, part-time doctor employed by ambulance room, bookbinder engaged by any contractor, sales clerk, director and managing director of company who is paid up to 21,000 remuneration per month. So बहुत सारी जगह पे ऐसा दिखने को हमको मिलता है कि लाइक कंपनी सेड कि we have only 2 employees on roll, rest on our contract basis, so they are not our direct employees. But here I would like to mention that so all the employees in different through the contractor, any part time, so they all are covered under this act for the ESIC point of view. So if you have 20 other employees, including your contract labor or anything under Shop and Establishment Act, so you'll have to opt for the registration. So here director also covered under ESIC Act, but partners drawing salary less than 21,000 not covered under this act, because as per the ESIC Act, partner are not covered under definition of employee as per ESIC Act. So consultant like us and tax consultant are covered under this act. So no. So consultant do not work in the premises of the company. Their work is carried out in their own premises, and they have been engaged for the business sake of business respondent or employer. So tax consultant, any other consultant, they are not employee under the ESIC Act. So they are not covered under ESIC. So contribution under ESIC with the effect from 1st July 2019, there is a change in the contribution. Earlier it was 1.75 and 4.75. With the effect from 1st July, it is changed. So employees contribution is 0.75% of wages, which is gross wages. So here is also exclusion. So employees earning salary 176 per day and have otherwise up to 5,200. So employer need not to deduct their ESIC from their salary. Okay, they are excluded, but employer contribution is mandatory. So employer contribution is 3.25% of wages. So earlier it was total 6.5%. So now it's become a 4%, like 0.75% of employee contribution and 3.25% of employer contribution. So it should be paid within a 15 days from the end of the each month. So for the month of June, it is 15 July, for the it is 15th August. So if we make any late payment post due date, so interest and damages will need to be paid on it. So registration. So all you might all aware that from the February 2020, all the new register are getting the registration under ESIC at the time of their incorporation. Okay, so when you are might for the registration of companies for LLP or company, you will get all ESIC, PF, PT registration at the time of registration. Apart from the companies who are already under the register under any private limited or LLP or any proprietor partnership firm, so they'll have to do registration from Shrama Suvidha portal. So what document required for that? So any factory license, shop and establishment registration certificate, PAN card of company, or in case of proprietary proprietor's PAN card need to be uploaded. Name and residential address of proprietor, all the partner, all director, proof of the premises rental ownership or lease and license agreement, partnership deed in case of partnership firm, AOI, MOI in case of companies, any other registration certificate issued by the government, example like GST, PTAX, SSI, cancel check of the company, scan copy of above document need to be uploaded on Shrama Suvidha portal. Immediately we will get 17-digit code number for your company. So this is your registration number. At the same time, you will receive your user ID and password on your register mail ID. So this is code number. Then again, there is subcode number. If any company is having multiple branches in India, so they can have main code in their head office and they can opt subcode number at various locations. So what is the benefit of this subcode number? So employees working in branches or any sale office, any other location in India, so whenever they'll give for cash, they go for cash benefit. They'll have to come to ESIC branch office for submission of that document and everything. If you don't have subcode number, every time they'll have to travel to your head office, okay, and their nearby branch office. So if you have opt subcode number at various location, then they can directly approach to their branch offices and they'll avail that benefit. Again, similarly, there are certain state having their own ESIC hospitals apart from ESIC hospital run by the central ESIC department. So for that particular state, if we have the subcode number, very easier to they can register with their local dispensaries. They can have that local benefit. So it is always advisable to all the client or then they should take subcode number. So there is no any extra cost involved in subcode number. Employer can have multiple subcode number at the same time. They just need to provide address of that particular branch or location. And in the meanwhile, we can also compliance maintain all the register at head office only. So inspection will be done at head office. So periodicity, there is contribution period and benefit period. I'll take this, you will hear the, I'll take this in further part what is contribution benefit. So contribution period is 1st April to 30th September. This is for the purpose of return of ESIC challans, filing everything. And second contribution period is 1st October to 31st March. And second benefit is cash benefit. This is for the employee benefit period, 1st January to 30th June and 1st July to 31st December. So what register you need to maintain under this act? So ESIC registration, register in Form 7A Rule 32. This is also available online in our view option, view contribution detail option. You can take a printout from that portal where you can get detail of each and employee along with their employee and employer contribution. So you need to take a printout and you need to have filed it with you. ESIC inspection book you need to maintain. ESIC accident register. This is very important part. If any client is registered under ESIC, they should have this accident register. So whenever it's accident happen, they'll have to update that register and they'll have to submit that copy to ESIC branch office. So books of account like ledger, cash book, bills, voucher, balance sheet. This is required at the time of inspections. So benefit to the employer. Why employer should register under ESIC? It is bounded by law, but there are also two benefits to the employer. Like if employees covered under ESIC Act, they not to give maternity benefit. All you are aware that 26 weeks benefit need to be given under maternity benefit act. If employer covered employees under ESIC, then ESIC office will pay their maternity benefit tax. They need not to cover under other policy, or they need not to pay from their pocket. Similarly, Employees Compensation Act is not applicable to the employees who's covered under ESIC Act. Like any accident happen, anything happen with employee, there is a responsibility of ESIC office for their compensation, their benefits. No one can challenge employer in the court for the employees compensation. So there are total 10 benefits under ESIC Act for the employees. So first one is medical benefit, second sickness benefit, third one maternity benefit, fourth one temporary disablement benefit, fifth one permanent disablement benefit, sixth one dependent benefit, seven funeral expenses, eight medical benefit to retired employee, nine unemployment benefit, and last one benefit to physically disabled employee. So we'll see one by one. So what medical benefit? So full medical facility including hospitalization for member and his family is available under medical benefit from the date of membership. If employee joined any organization, suppose say on the 1st of August, and employer register him on the same day, so on from 2nd August, he is eligible for medical benefit for hospitalization of their any illness, anything. He can directly approach to the ESIC or doctors for that treatment as well. So second, under the medical benefit, there is super specialty treatment is also available. Super specialty, any disease or any operation related to kidney, brain and heart, it's covered under super specialty treatment. Earlier, if member have completed 2 years, then only he is eligible for super specialty treatment. But now it is only member have to complete 6 months with the organization and 78 days contribution should be paid. Then he'll avail medical benefit under super specialty treatment. He can have this benefit from any type hospital, ESIC hospital, any government's ESIC recognized hospital. So his family is also eligible to get a super specialty treatment if he employees completed 20 months in the organization and have 78 days in 2 contribution period. So his 2 contribution period means total 156 days if he have paid in last year. Then he is eligible for his family is also eligible for special security treatment under ESIC. Second benefit is sickness benefit, which means cash benefit. So ESIC office is not giving only medical treatment. So if any employee is not able to come to office due to any disease or anything, so they'll get that medical treatment, hospitalization. Along with that, he'll get the loss of pay because he could not work, so he'll not get salary. For that also, for the survival of his family and him, ESIC office give sickness benefit. So employee will get approx 70% of his daily wages as an sickness benefit. There is only 78 days need to be paid in last contribution period. So contribution period, which means 1st of April to 30th September, 1st of October to 31st March. So if he have paid 78 days in last contribution period, he is eligible for sickness benefit. And this sickness benefit it can be extended up to 721 days. If any employee is not able to come for 1 year, up to 721 days. So there is provision under this act to pay him. But this is all depend on their doctors and their MRO, RMO. Like they'll have to certify that why this employee is not able to work, what is the reason. So according to that, their extended medical benefit given to employees. So third benefit is maternity benefit. Okay, this is a wider benefit under ESIC Act. Lot of companies getting this benefit. So what is the main condition to be eligible for employee under maternity benefit act? So contribution should not be less than 70 days in preceding of 2 contribution period. Like for the last 2 contribution period, they should work more than 70 days. Okay, like employee should be joined prior 1 year. Yeah, they should bear 2 contribution period under ESIC. She shall not be on duty with wages. अगर कोई employer company में उसकी salary pay कर रहा है and we are paying their ESIC on ESIC portal, okay, then employee is not eligible for getting benefit under maternity benefit act. Okay, in that case, if ESIC office found that employer deposited their ESIC dues on the portal, So in that case, they'll not give benefit to the employee. They'll not pay anything to the employee. So make sure that your client is not updating any contribution for that period on the portal. Okay, and 26 weeks leaves fully paid in case of confinement. So in continuation, addition 1 month is permissible subject to medical certificate from the attending doctor. If doctor said that she should rest for 1 more month, so she'll get paid wages for that 1 more month, like 6 months add on to 1 month. Okay, in case of miscarriage, 6 weeks from the date of miscarriage. So there is 100% maternity benefit provided to female employees. Like any employees having salary 20,000, so she'll get 1,20,000 for the 6 month salary. Okay, and she can also avail medical treatment from ESIC hospital. Again, confinement expenses as a medical bonus 5,000. If she is not getting benefit from the ESIC hospital, then she'll be paid additional 5,000 as a medical bonus. Okay, and confinement expenses paid up to 2 confinement only. So this is the document required for claiming maternity benefit. Like employee have to submit form 2123, which is received from the registered doctor. Then birth certificate, discharge card, bank detail, Aadhaar card, and form 10. Form 10 is like, this is a declaration by the company, like employee was on leave without pay for this period to this period, and she has recently joined, and then then we can process for their further document. Again, employee have to just registration process is also very simple. Like employee have to register their card. They have to just visit to nearest dispensary. Employer can certify their card and their photograph, and immediately they'll register their card. So next benefit is disablement benefit. In case of employment injury, if any employees come to office and if he left from the home and reach to home, so these all covered under disablement benefit. Once he log off, he left from the home to come to office. In this between, if any injuries happen, it's cause of anything. So it is come under the injury during the employment. So okay, temporary disabled benefit, approx 90% of wages. Anything happen if he just get fractures, everything. So he'll get 90 days of average daily wages till the time he recovered. Then permanent disablement. In case of any employees have lost their body part like hand, anything, eyes, anything. So as per their percentage of capacity of earning that part, okay, he'll get some amount. He'll also get some pension. He'll get lump sum amount. Okay, all the above benefit start from the date of membership. If you have just registered your member under ESIC Act, and if you are not paid any contribution, then also you'll get this benefit. So dependent benefit, in case of that, if in case of like you heard that the compensation, Employees Compensation Act is not applicable, employees under ESIC. So what compensation? So they'll get compensation from ESIC office. So there is a provision for pension to widow pension to the wife until she remarriage, or till time of life. This is also applicable to their dependent son, dependent daughter up to age of 25. So minimum pension under ESIC Act per month is 1,200. So next one is funeral expenses. ESIC not only look at the survival member of the family, also they provide funeral expenses. So if any, this is not required death while in duty. Employees that if the employees dead due to any reason, okay, they can claim this benefit. They'll have to just fill form 22 along with their death certificate. Their family members can submit this document, and they'll get 15,000 within 3 days to their bank account. So these funeral expenses provided under ESIC. So next one is medical benefit after retirement. If any person has served 5 years with ESIC and before retirement, then they can avail all the medical care benefit with the rupees of 10 per month for them and their spouse. That is 120 per annum. Okay, under this they can avail all the medical benefit, the hospitalization. Again, they can take all the medicine from ESIC dispensaries, everything. So this is available for those who's retired and serve 5 years membership with ESIC. So there is also another benefit, unemployment benefit. Due to any permanent closure of company or retrenchment, employees not able to find next job and he's not able to survive, then he can make application to the ESIC and he'll get 25% of wages of his total wages for 6 months under this act. And second benefit is benefit to the physically disabled employees. This is applicable to employees having up to 25,000, like any physical disabled employee working in any organization. If there is having gross salary up to 25,000, then they cover under ESIC Act. So there is also restriction under this act, like person entitled to any benefit provided under act is not able to entitle for second similar benefit under this act. So suppose any employee is getting sickness benefit, then he cannot claim for the maternity benefit. If anyone having both sickness benefit and disablement benefit, so he cannot go for both. So they'll have to decide for one benefit only. So we help the employees to enroll under the benefit, like where they'll get more information. So accordingly, we'll guide you will get more benefit under this. So you can enroll under this benefit. So there are also penal provision under ESIC. If any employee are making false statement, preparation of false document for the increasing of their benefit or payment, so there is imposement up to 6 months and fine up to 2,000 or both. If any employer is failed to pay, deduction of employees, like there is 0.75% deduction from the employee salary if employer not paid that contribution. So as per that penalties, imposement up to 3 years, minimum of 1 year, and fine up to rupees 10,000. Then failure to pay contribution, like employer contribution, if anyone are not able to pay, so there is imposement up to 3 years, minimum 6 months, and fine rupees 5,000 rupees. अगर आप कंपनी ने एम्प्लॉयर का जो शेयर होता है, if they'll have deduct that from employee salary at any manner, any wages, like any other deduction, suppose at the 3.75%, if they are showing that under deduction or any other manner, then also there is imposement up to 1 year or fine up to 4,000 under act. So any subsequent offense committed after the conviction of for the same, so there is also imposement up to 2 years and fine of rupees 5,000. So these all authorities with regional commissioners, regional directors, and the labor court under ESIC Act. So there are certain new amendment passed by the parliament under section 45A of ESIC Act. So if employer is not satisfied with the order preferred under section 45A, he may prefer an appeal to appellate authority within 60 days of such order after depositing 25% of actual amount of due, whichever is applicable. अगर कोई order पहले like कि after 45A was the last, then now there is another one section 45A. Under that you can apply for appeal. You just have to pay 25% of due amount. And there is also second, if employer succeed to with appeal, there is also provision to ESIC office also paid that security deposit along with the interest. So there is also some recent from last year 2019, all the employer have to register their employees within 10 days from their joining. Okay, and contribution against the employees must be deposited within 45 days from their end of contribution period. Like we have seen that contribution period is 1st April to 30th September. So any contribution pertaining to this specific contribution period, employer have to pay it before 11th of November. Okay, after 11th November, system do not allow to pay your previous dues. And for the contribution period for the month of October to March, it should be paid on or before 12th of May. Okay, after that you are not allowed to pay contribution for specific period. So ESIC also have their missions like one IP, one insurance number, one nations. Again, all the ESIC employees, they are getting their number, so it should be linked with their Aadhaar card. So they'll allow all the benefit at the lifetime respective process. Like any employees have served with previous organization for 1 year, 2 years. So if you continue with the same number, he can allow that special security treatment, maternity benefit treatment as per their previous employment. Many times it's happened. Any employee joined to new organization, so organization do not ask him for the ESIC number. They generate their new number. So it is, they are not getting that all the benefit from the day one. Like there is cash benefit, they need to serve 78 days in contribution period. So if they have already with the ESIC number with previous employer, they can link it and they can avail all the benefit under this. So again there is a 10 days provision from the date of appointment. If employee joined in the month of January but employer failed to register him, so if they are going to register him at the in the month of July, so they can put the date of appointment as a prior to 10 days only. System is not allowed to make the date of appointment for the month of June or May. In this period they'll have to pay only they can pay only for this from the date of the registration. If any employer want to pay from the previous period, so they'll have to approach to RO SRO for the verification of their date of joining. We need to submit their joining appointment letter with the ESIC SRO office. So accordingly they'll change their ESIC joining date. So there is also amendment in 2015 ki all the payment, earlier challan was deposited with the bank, offline challan was accepted by the bank. From 2015 there is online facility and total 58 notified bank linked with the ESIC. So again the second thing, single challan is to be generated for all the branches, that the company is having their main code, their subcode number all over India. If any company is having main code in Maharashtra and they're having another 50 branches in all over India, so they can deposit one single challan in their one main code under Maharashtra. They need not to go for each login and they need not to generate for specific challan for that location. They can generate one short challan under main code number. So Aadhaar card and family detail may be furnished for the generation of employees insurance number. So at a time employees and his family is getting benefit from the ESIC hospital anything, so they'll get benefit only when Aadhaar is linked. So we have to register, we have to update their Aadhaar card at a time of registration, or we can update later as well. But if we do not update their Aadhaar card, they'll not get benefit in their ESIC. So construction worker shall be covered under ESIC Act, as on 1st August 2015, ESIC office notified that construction site worker should be registered under ESIC. But after that, Builder Association has filed an appeal in a Supreme Court, and now on 6 July 2018, Supreme Court granted stay on that. Ki construction worker, currently construction need not to register under ESIC Act. So this is some update related to COVID. ESIC beneficiaries can purchase medicine from the private chemist during this lockdown, and it can be reimbursed by the ESIC as per availability of government staff. Okay, migrant worker can avail ESIC benefit anywhere in India. Like earlier we seen that there is need of subcode number, so then only employee can get maximum benefit in respective state. But in case of migrant worker, they can avail ESIC benefit in anywhere in India. Contribution period for the month of October 19 to March 2020 can be, contribution for the period of October to March can be paid all on or before 15th of July. As per it should be 11th, it should be filed before 11th May. Okay, but due to COVID, they have extended till 15 July 2020. Then again in this COVID period, ESIC office has started dispensary come branch offices. So earlier it was not happen like branch offices. There was just office clerical from clerical work used to happen. So now this comes with new this dispensary come branch offices. So employee need not to visit two times, like for the doctor and again to the branch office to submit that document. So they can combinedly submit that document. They can avail dispensary benefit at the branch office only. So recently they have started in some district. In this COVID-19 situation, any claim up to 10,000 can be settled immediately at a branch office. There are currently 72 branch offices in Maharashtra. And under ESIC, there is no ceiling limit for the treatment. Like we heard that COVID-19, for the patient of this is getting a bill of 9 lakh, 10 lakh, 12 lakh. So under ESIC, they and their family, there is no ceiling limit. They can avail benefit up to n number of rupees. So there is also Suvidha Sangam for any grievance complaint. All the employee can approach on second Wednesday to SRO or RO, to regional offices or sub-regional offices, and on every Wednesday they can go there, they can visit to SRO, and on second Friday of every month they can approach to the branch offices for their grievances related to claim or anything. So this is effect from 1st of July 2020. Submission of valid mobile number and bank account with IFSC code is mandatory. If you have to register your employees under ESIC Act, then you have to register his mobile number first. You cannot use same mobile number again and again. There is one mobile number linked with only one ESIC insurance number. So bank detail and IFSC code is mandatory. Earlier they were keep mandatory as an OTP as well, but after within a 7 days they had removed that part. But currently you have to update mobile number as well as bank detail to generate their ESIC card. So there is also ES16 hospital across India. They have reserved for the dedicated hospital as an ESIC. So in Maharashtra, currently there are 15 ESIC hospital. Again, there are 264 type hospital, private hospital by the ESIC. From that hospital, employees can get benefit, their families can get benefit. More than 1,000 dispensaries and doctors are available. So this is a medical benefit for the Maharashtra in COVID-19 situation. They have kept reserve bed for cover employees covered under ESIC, like Kandivali Hospital, they have 130 beds, Solapur 40, and for the Parel Gandhi Hospital, they have kept 300 bed capacity, and this is dedicated hospital for COVID. So what is comparison between insurance scheme and ESIC scheme? If commercial insurance scheme is covered only the person as the insurance, but ESIC have broader coverage, like they can cover all the dependent member of employee's family. Okay, and yes, other insurance provide only one service in stipulated policy, but ESIC office provide the medical benefit, sickness benefit, disablement benefit, dependent benefit, maternity benefit at a single contribution, and this is covered only disease. This covered all type of disease including anything. Okay, and the profit is goes to company, and here this profit is again used for the corporate as a corporate fund for the benefit of the employee only. So in Maharashtra, ESIC started firstly started on 11 July 1954 in Nagpur. In Mumbai, it started on 3rd October 1954. So currently ESIC scheme is implemented fully in 22 districts in Maharashtra, and partly it was implemented in 9 districts in Maharashtra. Earlier ESIC was not applicable in Palghar, some part of Vasai, but currently they have implemented many of district as a fully implemented area, and there are 9 districts where they are short of services, so that's why they have not implemented fully. They are implemented partly. So when ESIC office start their dispensaries, their medical benefit, then only they implement as an fully district. So this is regional office in Lower Parel, and there is another 6 sub-regional office: Pune, Marol, Thane, Nagpur, Aurangabad, Nasik, and 72 branch offices in Maharashtra. So there is also new initiative related to inspection. This is most important part, Central Analysis and Intelligence Unit. So earlier क्या होता था कि like कोई इंस्पेक्टर आपके बाजू से जा रहा है तो क्लाइंट के पास या कोई भी कंपनी में विजिट करता था कि I have to show me this record and everything. So that was a lot of corruption was happening. There was no transparency of record, everything. So now ESIC office initiated with CAIU. Okay, so yeah, inspection will happen through CAIU portal. The employer will get notification message that inspection is scheduled on so and so date, and this inspection only scheduled due to if they are making due late payment, or they are having any difference in their contribution. So and it is also help to do not like inspection अभी 6 महीने पहले हो गया, अभी वापस होना है. So यहाँ पे वो टैट होता है कि लास्ट इंस्पेक्शन कब हुआ है. So लास्ट उसके 3 years के अंदर की इंस्पेक्शन ना हो, ये सिस्टम चेक करती है. अगर कोई वहाँ पे डिस्क्रिपेंसी है, then only they approach to the inspector to visit, and here also they can approach any inspector from the any region for the company. So ESIC also launched e-Pehchan card and health passbook. Recently, they have kept availability, like for the all the family member, they can we can employer or employee can link their Aadhaar card on the portal, and they can maintain health passbook, and beneficiaries to maintain like what the benefit they have taken, what eligibility of their benefit, as well as their summaries. They like what like our file when we visit to the doctor, we should have that file what we have taken earlier, everything. So here they create a history of employee and their families. Again, from this website, there are from this website, anyone can opt Triad Hospital under ESIC. So there is also COVID test if agar कोई employee having COVID-19 positive, and he can get all the benefit from ESIC. But if he unable to take it benefit from the ESIC, he can make his test any ICMR approved lab and at own cost, and ESIC office will reimburse that amount. So there is another ESIC benefit during this COVID-19. So they have started dialysis services at many of ESIC. They also covered lots of ESIC type. They are increasing their tie-up with the private hospital. So there is eKranti online service portal. On this portal, anytime anyone can log their grievances online. So this is maintained by central ESIC office, and there is ratio of settlement of this claim approx 75 to 80%. If anyone having any issues, they can go for eKranti portal. So this is related to ESIC. There is also flash news on COVID-19 for the contribution of Feb 2020. Due date is extended till 15th April. For the month of March 2020, due date under ESI is extended up till the 15th May 2020. Now, as you know that bank detail and other number is mandatory to link with all the member. So here I am completing ESIC part. So anyone having a question related to ESIC? Hello?
हेलो
Hello?
हाँ चालू देखना
Okay. So we'll take a question in another part lastly. Okay, so second is PF Act. So PF Act also their own object to provide social security to the industrial worker. Second object is to provide terminal retrenchment and old age benefit, superannuation, individual pension, family pension, and deposit link insurance to member. So applicability for schedule under schedule 1 of Factories Act, these any factories employing 20 and more employees, they are covered under PF Act. Any establishment having 20 employees, any shop and establishment having 20 employees or more person, they are covered under PF Act. And any employees whose salary or wages rupees 20, up to 15,000 basic plus DA, they are applicable under PF Act. Establishment having less than 20 employees, they can also cover under PF Act by the way of voluntary registration under section 1(4) of the Act. Physically disabled employees, they can get benefit from the PF, like employer not to pay their contribution for 3 years if they are getting basic plus wages up to 25,000. So applicability to cooperative society employing 50 and more employees. Okay, all the department, all the branches of any company, any private, any firm, they are treated as a one establishment. So again, under PF, once covers forever irrespective of their number of employees. Suppose any establishment have taken their registration when they had 20 employees. Okay, currently they have only 5 employees, but they have to comply for that 5 employees. They have to pay challan regularly. Everything, all the return they have to file. Okay, like so, it is covered for then it's covered forever. So for the count of 20 and more employees, who is included. Like as many of companies said that we have only 2 on-roll employees and all we are having contract and everything. So all the permanent, temporary, full-time, part-time, casual, time rated, piece rated employees, contract employees, person employed in various department, head office, branches, sale office, go down, or any other different places, and sales representative are counted for the computing employment strength. So all the employees which are part-time or they are, if any companies have 20 employees in any preceding day of year, then they'll have to opt under PF Act. They'll have to take registration under PF Act. So these all the employees covered under PF. सो एलिजिबिलिटी की एक बार कंपनी में रजिस्ट्रेशन हो गया, सो कौन कौन जो एम्प्लॉइज को उसमें एलिजिबल है, सो जिनका बेसिक प्लस डीए 15,000 है फ्रॉम द एज पर फ्रॉम 2019 इट इज basic special allowance is also included as an salary. So employees engaged to the contractor salary limit up to 15,000, they are also eligible under PF Act. And employees physical like 25,000 salary rahega, so he is also included under PF Act. So excluded employee, who is excluded employees under PF Act? So employees who is member of any provident fund, if organization having PF, and if he completed his 55 years and if he withdraw all the previous fund, and if he join any organization which is covered under PF, then he need not to deduct his PF for that with that organization if he is getting less than 15,000. Okay, he is excluded under PF Act. And employees whose basic plus DA is 15 more than 15,000 when he is the first time member at PF Act, and apprentice certified under Standing Order Act or registered under Apprentice Act, so they are excluded employee. Apart from this category, all the employees PF should be deducted. So contribution on PF. So employees contribution is 12% on basic plus DA plus special allowance and other allowances. Employer contribution is 12% plus 1%, so total 13%. So total contribution is 25%. So out of that 12% of employer contribution, 8.33% contribution goes to pension account of employees, and which means account number 10. So and the second 3.67% part, it's come to employees PF account. So it is added to their PF balance. So employee can in the passbook they'll get two balance as in pension balance and EPF balance. So EPF balance is 12% plus 3.67%. Under employer they can only see pension. Under pension they'll get 8.33%. The rate of interest for 18-19 is 8.65%. Calculated on monthly running balance method. So so another 1%. Out of that, the company have to bear 1% as an a company cost. So out of that, 0.5% is an administrative cost for the maintaining PF offices, authorities, and there. So they'll all the administrative work is carried with administration cost. So employer have to bear add-on 0.5% cost from as per the norms, and it's contributed under account 2 of EPF Act. For the it is also for the minimum contribution under account 2 is 500 rupees. If any company is having 0.5%, suppose 10,000 salary और उनका 0.5% 50 rupees है, so and so आ रहा है. So in that case they have to deposit 500 rupees. Again, अगर कंपनी कोई बंद हो रहा है या कोई फंक्शनल नहीं है, like they do not have employees, still they'll have to maintain this account to cost. Like for the active companies they have to pay, active means operational companies, they have to pay 500 rupees per month, and for the non-functional employees 75 rupees per month they have to make a payment. So again, second 0.5 contribution, 0.5% contribution to the EDLI account, which is account number 22, and administration cost of EDLI account. What is EDLI? We'll take in the further part. Okay, what is so administration cost of EDLI? It is 0.01% of wages, and this is related from the 1st April 2017. So now contribution is 12% of employee, 12% of employer, and it's 0.5% of admin charges and 0.5% of EDLI charges. So total 25%. So this is the most important part Honorable Supreme Court judgment on 28 Feb 2019. You lot of member have heard this Surya Roshni case and everything. So Supreme Court ruled that employer cannot segregate their special allowance from the basic wages for the purpose of PF deduction. Like before 2014, PF ceiling was 6,500. In 2014, PF ceiling enhanced to 15,000. Then again, this in 2019, the Supreme Court have ruled that you cannot separate that special allowance. So this is some of the allowances they have included under definition of PF wages, and they are excluded. So what is included under PF Act? Basic dearness allowance, conveyance, other allowance, special allowance, LTA, fixed allowance in the name of tele or food allowance, petrol reimbursement without bills, retaining allowance, CCA or any other allowance paid as a fixed allowance. So these are allowance are covered under EPF wages definition. Okay, and the excluded allowance like HRA, productive incentive, overtime, night shift allowance, attendance allowance, washing allowance, canteen allowance, petrol reimbursement, bonus and commission, any allowance paid as a variable on only certain category. Like previously क्या होता था कि basic plus DA पे ही just PF deduct करना होता. Suppose we have taken basic of 10,000 and DA of 2,000. So 12,000 पे PF deduction होता था. बट अभी अगर आपने उसको बाइफरकेट किया हुआ है, लाइक बेसिक आपने 10,000 रखा है, 2,000 डीए रखा है, 2,000 एचआरए रखा है एंड 2,000 या 3,000 स्पेशल अलाउंस लिया है, तो आपको 10+2 एडिशनल जो अदर देन दिस नॉट इंक्लूडेड अलाउंसेस है, ओके, उनकी टोटल करके आपको 12% उसके ऊपर डिडक्ट करना है. पीएफ सीलिंग है 15,000 का. अगर किसी का सैलरी एज एन मोर देन 15,000 हो रहा है तो आपको 1,800 रुपीज पीएफ डिडक्ट करना है. Employer have option to deduct more contribution under PF. Okay, employer also have option to pay more contribution. They can make 88% of their basic and DA allowance as an PF VPF contribution. So these are the allowances which covered and non-covered after the judgment of Supreme Court. So there is also late payment interest and damages. So this is also used interest and damages under PF Act. Like if any employers fail to pay due date before 15 before due date, so they have to make a payment on or before 15th of the following month. So interest rate is 12% per annum on their delay of payment. If any employer delayed with 2 days, 3 days, so their interest will be calculated on 12% per annum. And there is also damages levied on their late payment. If less than 2 months, then 5% damages. 2 months to 4 months, 10%. 4 months to 6 months is up to 15%, and more than 6 months it's 25%. So you can imagine if any employers fail to pay 1 lakh rupees in the month of December 2019, and if you are going to pay that in the December 2020, so they'll have to pay 1,37,000 for that period. So it is always advisable to all the clients to do whatever, but pay before due date. So there is update on finance minister announcement. So they have announced that for the period of May, June and July, employer option to contribute as a 10% of their wages, PF wages, instead of 12%. So that 2% part they can get as a benefit for the employee as well as employer. So employee will get more benefit under this. So this is notification on 10% deduction. So there is also another announcement by the finance minister. So this is huge benefit to all the SME sector. So this is PMGKY benefit to all the companies. What is this benefit? So employee and employer, there's total 24% share था. So कंपनीज का जो 12% और एम्प्लॉइज का भी 12% है, वो दोनों गवर्नमेंट पे करेगी. बट इसमें कुछ कंडीशन थे. तो कंडीशन क्या थे कि फर्स्ट कंडीशन कि आपके जो पीएफ के और नॉन कवर्ड एम्प्लॉइज है, द स्ट्रेन शुड बी लेस देन 100. ओके, अगर आपके पास टोटल एम्प्लॉइज मोर देन 100 है, सो यू आर नॉट एलिजिबल अंडर पीएमजीकेवाई बेनिफिट. सेकेंड कंडीशन था आउट ऑफ दैट 100 एम्प्लॉइज 19% जो स्टाफ सैलरी है इंक्लूडिंग पीएफ एंड ईएसआईसी एम्प्लॉइज का, so it should be less than 15,000 gross. तो यहाँ पे ग्रॉस सैलरी उन्होंने बोला है कि अगर आपका ग्रॉस लेस देन 15,000 रहेगा, then only you will have this benefit. So they have secured 2,500 crore to support MSMEs who register under PF Act. MSMEs means employees having less than 100 strength. Employer having less than 100 employees, they can only opt this benefit. And second condition कि उनके 90% स्टाफ का जो बेसिक दिए अदर अलाउंस मिला के जो ग्रॉस है वो लेस देन 15,000 से नीचे होना चाहिए. सो व्हाट इज बेनिफिट कि पूरा 24% एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉयर का यहाँ पे वेवर था. ओनली एम्प्लॉयर हैव टू बेयर 1% एडमिन कॉस्ट. सो यहाँ पे जिनके आधार नंबर लिंक है वो एम्प्लॉयर के लिए कंपनी को बेनिफिट मिल रहा था. सो दिस इज अगेन एक्सटेंडेड फॉर द 3+3 6 month. So this is total calculation. Like again the 10% जो डिडक्शन है वो जो कंपनी PMGKY में बेनिफिट ले रही है उनके लिए वो 10% डिडक्शन नहीं था, उनको कंपलसरी 12% डिडक्शन करना है. उनके जो एम्प्लॉइज है जिनका लेस देन 15,000 सैलरी नहीं है उनके लिए उनको कंपलसरी 12% कराना है. और जो 10% का अनाउंसमेंट था इट इज ओनली ऑप्शनल. अगर कंपनी चाहे तो पूरा 12% डिडक्ट करा सकती है एम्प्लॉयर की सैलरी से, और इट इज अ डिसीजन टू द कंपनी कि उनको कराना या नहीं कराना. बट फॉर द सेक ऑफ PMGKY 12% जो एम्प्लॉय का बेनिफिट था वो उनको एम्प्लॉय को रिफंड करना है. तो सैलरी जो कैलकुलेशन से थोड़े से चेंज हो गए थे. लाइक आपको ग्रॉस के पहले उनके एक एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट का कॉलम ऐड करना था, जो उनकी PF की डिडक्शन की अमाउंट है वहां पे रीइंबर्स हो रही थी. और जो कंपनी कंट्रीब्यूशन है अगर इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ CTC then company have to return that amount to employee. Again अगर CTC पार्ट है तो उन्होंने FAQ में क्लियरली मेंशन किया है PF ऑफिस ने कि अगर CTC पार्ट है तो आपको वो अमाउंट भी एम्प्लॉय को रिफंड करनी है. अगर एज एन CTP मॉड्यूल नहीं है कंपनी में कॉस्ट टू कंपनी नहीं मैनेज मतलब उसके हिसाब से उनके अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर वगैरह नहीं है तो कंपनी हैव राइट्स टू कीप दैट 12% विद देम. So there is inquiry under 7 section A. So whatever wrong with employer, anything dispute arise, so this come under inquiry under 7A. After show cause notice, you will get inquiry under 7A. So why these inquiries? So जब भी PF Act है, so उसके regulations है, उसको moderate करने के लिए 7A का inquiry उन्होंने है. तो उसमें any question related to applicability of act. कोई अगर कंपनी बोल रही है कि मेरे पास 20 एम्प्लॉइज नहीं है, सो उनके जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स है, जो भी रिलेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स है वो वेरीफाई किए जाएंगे अंडर सेक्शन 7 है. ओके. एनी अगर कंपनी के एम्प्लॉइज ने कंप्लेंट की हुई है कि दे हैव 20 एम्प्लॉइज बट अभी तक वहां पे रजिस्टर नहीं किया है तो उनका जो भी है इंक्वायरीज अंडर 7 किया जाएगा. एनरोलमेंट, मेंबरशिप, एनी कंपनी जो इंटरेस्ट एंड डैमेजेस लेट पे करते हैं. Okay, so there is also inquiries conduct under 7A कि there is any dispensaries related to their accounts and anything, so that's come under 7A inquiries. So how we can avoid these 7A inquiries? So if we make a payment on time before due date for each period, okay, then so they are not sending inquiries. So currently these inquiries, everything is happen from the regional offices, as well as there is central inspection portal is available with PF. Okay, if you are making regular compliances, if you are resolving employees grievance on time, employees not going to complain with the regional offices, and if you are keeping your balance sheets records which is tally with your salary. Many of times happen कि आपका salary registers के figures कुछ अलग होते हैं and your PF की जो salary registers है उसमें difference होता है. So it's might be come for in future में liabilities उसके ऊपर से ही create होता है. So if you have your balance sheet, salary details, if you are that matching, then you can have this record handy. Okay, and any inspection happen to your premises, anything happen, then you'll have to resolve all the queries at the same level. Okay, जब भी इंस्पेक्टर अपने पास आता है या कभी फर्स्ट हियरिंग के लिए हम जाते हैं या कुछ भी होता है, so उनको कोई भी रॉन्ग रिमार्क नहीं डालने देना है कि ये आपका पेंडिंग है. ये try to settle matter at for that level only. You can approach to your client कि आपको यही इसी लेवल पे करना है। अगर वहां पे इंस्पेक्शन नोट में कुछ ये ना हो, क्योंकि 7A इंक्वायरीज आ गया तो वो पूरा प्रोसीडिंग हो जाता है, उनको ऑर्डर इशू करना पड़ता है। सो इफ अगर हम सेम लेवल पे हैंडल करें, सो 7A का और कोई भी शो कॉज नोटिस अगर आपको आता है रिलेटेड टू एनीथिंग लाइक एम्प्लॉइज का स्ट्रेंथ कभी कभी अपने पास 100 होता है, किसी क्लाइंट के पास में उसको वापस नेक्स्ट मंथ में 25, इफ अ डिफरेंशिएट इन स्ट्रेंथ देन आल्सो दिस इंक्वायरी जनरेट। सो मेजर रीजन है कि आप कोई क्लाइंट उसका रेगुलर पेमेंट नहीं कर रहा है। सेकेंडरी वेरी इन वेजेस, लाइक किसी ने किसी मंथ में किसी की ग्रॉस सैलरी 25,000 दिखाई है, सेकेंड मंथ में 12,000 दिखाया है। सो इसमें जो अगर डिफरेंस रहेगा या एड ऑन उनके एम्प्लॉयज का जो इन एंड आउट है, किसी का मंथ में 50 एम्प्लॉय आ रहा है, किसी मंथ में 100 एम्प्लॉय जा रहे हैं, अगर आना जाना एम्प्लॉयज का जो है डिफरेंस रहेगा बहुत, तो उसकी वजह से ही अभी इंस्पेक्शन जनरेट होता है, 7A इंक्वायरीज होता है। जो कंपनीज रेगुलर कंप्लायंस कर रहे हैं उनके ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है, सैलरी वेजेस ठीक से हो रहा है, तो उसमें 7A इंक्वायरीज नहीं जनरेट हो रही है। So this is again the reason for issuing a 7A notice. जैसे कि अगर any dispute arise in the applicability, anything related to अगर employees आपके complaint कर रहे हैं client के, तो 7A inquiries generate होते हैं। So now this EPFO has come with the online hearings in this COVID-19 paradigm. They are going to start their 7A inquiries to the online, like that respective inspectors will schedule a call with directors or their representative. That they need not to come to offices. So on the initial stage, if the document submission is not there, then they can conduct 7A inquiries. And initially the 7A inquiry conducted for the interest and damages cases. In case of waiver, anything is there, so they'll conduct online hearing for that. So what returns need to be submitted under EPF Act? So generally nowadays employee have to fill online nomination form from their UN portal. Earlier we used to collect nomination form at the time of joining kit, but this is most important form. If any death case happen, anything happen, if this form is not filled, then there is delay in the process with the PF office as well, and there is also might be chances to issue arise with family members of the deceased employee. So in that period, if employee already fill online form, then that will help to settle his claim. From the 1st May, all the PF challans has to be filled online. Earlier it was online generation of challan, then we used to submit manually to the respective bank and all. So from 2015, it should be submitted through online portal only. And there is one form 5A, return of ownership. Employer have to submit this form when there is any changes in their correspondence address, any change in their director, any change related to ownership details, though this return should be submitted, and specimen signature of authorized person and active digital signature. So nowadays this is very important part. If company do not have their active DSC, then their employee cannot claim online any claim, they cannot submit any transfer claim, any withdrawal, any advance claim. So for the approval of KYCs, approval of claim, company need to have their DST active on their portal. So return again in continuation. Earlier there was form 9 need to be submitted to the PF office. There was a company have to submit form 9 with the detail of their all the employees name, their father name, their joining. From October 2017, they have omitted that. Then form 11, this is important part. All the employees who join any establishment which cover under PF Act, for employees covered under PF, non-covered, they have to take this declaration. So at the time of inspection, the employees who's not covered under PF, we need that declaration from the employees that they were not member of earlier PF PF with their earlier establishment. As per the law, if any employees covered under PF with the previous establishment, they have to again enroll with current establishment if they are having salary more than 15,000 as well. Okay, अगर previously PF का member था तो इसी organization में वापस उसको continue करना है. But in case if he withdraw that PF, उसने वो account close कर दिया है और 2 months से ज्यादा उसका gap है, तो इन दैट केस वी आर ऑप्शन टू, ये एम्प्लॉय का ऑप्शन है कि वो पीएफ में अगर कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं करना चाहता है तो नहीं कर सकता है. So this is PF withdrawal advance. Like PF withdrawal जब भी एंड में हम जब भी रिट्रेचमेंट या वगैरह होता है, विड्रॉल होता है, बट कभी एम्प्लॉय को अगर फंड का रिक्वायरमेंट है, सो देर आर वेरियस एडवांस दे आर केप्ट. सो फॉर द मैरिज, एजुकेशन, परचेस ऑफ फ्लैट, अल्टरेशन ऑफ हाउस, होम लोन रीपेमेंट, रिन्यूअल ऑफ हाउस, मेडिकल इमरजेंसी, और एनी little before the 57, if he completed 57 year, then he can also uh, take advance from the PF office. So there is also number of year of service need to be maintained, like for the marriage 7 year, education 7 year, for the purchase of 5 years, repayment of housing loan it's 10 years, renewal of house 5 years. For the medical emergency, there is no service terms is required. Okay, employee can withdraw at any time for the medical reason. So this is a new initiative from the PF office. COVID-19 advance in from the PF office. COVID-19 पैरेड के इसमें PF ऑफिस में अभी तक n number of claims settle हुआ है. Okay, from the as per the notification on 27 March 2020. Okay, non-refundable advance PF office there है. So members can get that non-refundable advance easily. PF office is settling automatic auto settlement claims. Okay, like members are getting advance in 5 days, 10 days as well. Okay, so total contribution under this advance is 3 months of their basic plus DA, or 75% amount in their PF account. So suppose any employees having a 15,000 salary, like their PF is deducted on 15,000, so they'll get up to 45,000 or 75% of their total EPF contribution, whichever is less, they are getting. So this is the process for employee. Employee का UN activate होना चाहिए. It should be linked with the Aadhaar. Bank and IFSC code need to be updated on the portal. Okay, and employee should receive Aadhaar OTP. Okay, if their mobile number is not linked with Aadhaar, they'll not able to submit any claim, anything. Employee have to submit form 31 online. So there is another benefit under ESIC, Employees Deposit Link Insurance Scheme, EDLI. This is 1976 they have enacted. Okay, this the object to provide life insurance benefit to the employees covered under ESIC Act. This is applicable to all the employees of the factories and establishment जिनका PF deduction हो रहा है, they all are covered under EDLI. कंपनी जो 0.5% EDLI में contribute करती है, so they'll all the employee get benefit under EDLI. On the death of insurance person, इसका benefit मिलता है. Like any employees है और join किया organization, if he death while in service means कि अगर वो छुट्टी पे भी है but वो आपकी कंपनी के रोल पे है, then he is eligible to get benefit under EDLI. So family members of survival member of disease member can get this benefit up to 6 lakh rupees if he served more than 12 months with any organization. So next benefit is pension benefit. So Pension Act is enacted in 1995. So survival pension, in case of death, family member gets survival pension, his spouse get lifetime pension, children get up to age of 25, his dependent parent get lifetime pension. Second pension is old age pension. Pension on superannuation if anyone retire at the age of 58 and he has served 10 years with PF office as a contribution as an EPS member, then he is eligible for monthly pension till the life. Then permanent disability pension, in the event of member suffering from any permanent disability in whilst in service, then he'll get permanent disability pension. If this is also covered all the employees under PF Act, like ESIC was covered up to 21,000 only, but यहाँ पे if any members is survival or anyone having more than 15,000 salary but covered under PF, then they'll get all these benefit. So again, scheme certificate. any person want to opt scheme certificate, like if they want to have pension at the age of 58, if suppose a member have served their services with so and so organization for 3 years and they do not want to withdraw their pension fund, so they can take scheme certificate from that respective PF office and they can submit to next employer. So if they have accumulated service more than 10 years, then only they'll eligible for pension. Okay, so anyone having completed 10 years of service with any organization but not attended age of 55 or 58, okay, so they can avail scheme certificate, and whenever they'll reach at the 58, they'll just have to submit that scheme certificate to the PF office and they'll get that pension benefit from the PF office. So in that case, they not to visit again to the employer for the processment of all the document. They'll have to just apply for the scheme certificate. Once they receive, they can just directly visit to nearest PF office and they can get this pension benefit. So what is death benefit under PF Act to the employees? So प्रोविडेंट जो भी उनका पीएफ का एक्यूमुलेशन है, पीएफ का 12% प्लस एम्प्लॉयर का 3.67% उनके फैमिली को मिल जाता है. उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स को पेंशन मिल जाती है जो भी उनके सर्वाइवल मेंबर्स रहेंगे. सो दे विल नॉट गेट 8.33% बट दे विल गेट पेंशन. ईडीएलआई का जो अप टू 6 लाख तक का बेनिफिट उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स को मिल जाता है. एंड nominees basically जहाँ पे वो पॉइंट आता है why we need to ask employees to fill form 2 online. Okay, because जब भी नॉमिनी में डिस्प्यूट होता है तो क्लेम सेटल नहीं होता है. अगर एम्प्लॉय ऑलरेडी फिल दिस नॉमिनेशन फॉर्म then it is easier to settle his claim. So payment and withdrawal of provident fund amount, जो फाइनल सेटलमेंट है, कोई एम्प्लॉय कोई कंपनी से छोड़ के जाता है तो कब वो विड्रॉ कर सकता है. On retrenchment from the service after complete attaining 58 age of service, he can withdraw his PF. On retirement due to total incapability of work, on any migration from the permanent migration from India, they can withdraw. On termination of service, on retrenchment. So this is the clause. Employee have to bear 2-month waiting period after they left, and they can withdraw their all the PF, EPS contribution. If they have served less than 10 years, they'll get all the part like 24% with interest. If they have served more than 10 years, they'll get 15.67% and they'll get pension at the age of 58. So there is also pensioner life certificate now online. Like now senior citizen need not to visit to bank for submission of their life certificate. They can just visit on Jeevan Pradhan website and they can opt this life certificate. If there is in the month of November, December, all the pensioners need to visit to bank to get this life certificate. So now they can opt it from home. If life certificate not opted in the due date before due date, then they'll have to visit to again PF office. So for that they have started a new portal where members of EPF pensioner they can get their life certificate. So again in 2016 PF officer started TDS on PF. Earlier TDS was not deducted on any amount, any withdrawal. From 1st June 2016, PF office said that if any service less than 5 years, okay, they'll have to deduct TDS on it. So any employees have completed more than 5 years service, they'll their TDS will not be deducted in respect of their amount. But अगर 5 साल से कम सर्विस है और सेकेंड कंडीशन उसमें उनका PF का अमाउंट मोर देन 50,000 है, दैट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 15.67% पार्ट, पेंशन नहीं, अपार्ट फ्रॉम पेंशन ओनली PF अगर 50,000 से ज्यादा अमाउंट है तो PF वाले उसके ऊपर 10% TDS डिडक्ट करेंगे. अगेन अगर 15G एम्प्लॉय फिल कर रहा है तो TDS नहीं डिडक्ट करेंगे. So if with the 15G form, employee can get full PF amount. If he failed to update 15G at a time of withdrawal form, okay, PF office will deduct 10%. If member have not submitted their PAN card, they'll deduct up to 34% tax from their PF amount. In that case, they'll reject that claim. They ask member to upload their PAN card. They do not settle claim without PAN card. If member have submitted declaration that I do not have PAN card, then only they process with that claims. So PF have authority to recover all the dues. Okay, so they can attach, attach and sell all movable, immovable property of the establishment. Like any companies, many of times happen कि company के directors एक company बंद करके ऐसे ही हो they are not they did not close their PF code numbers. So after a certain period, they'll get inspection. You are not paid for this period and period. And if you do not answer that reply to that notice, then they'll get some directly as an ad hoc notice amount from the PF office that your dues is so and so, you have to pay. So in that case, PF office have rights to attach and sell their movable, immovable property of the establishment. They also have the right to arrest to the employer and detection in prison. Like if any employer failed to pay employees contribution, this is cognizable offense, and then the PF office can file FIR, and they can send to imprisonment. There is offense with the imprisonment. Okay, and a PF office can appoint the receiver for the management for the movable and immovable properties of the establishment of employer. So there is also Umang app where employee can download their passbook. So now there is lots of like employer can view their monthly passbook. They can have their online things through the UN portal. Again, they can have Umang app in their mobile. Every month they can download their passbook. So this is a very good initiative. Earlier, PF office used to issue PF slip to the employees. It was generated after 2 years, 3 years from the accounting year once that account settle. But nowadays employee can check their passbook every day by using this app, and they also can give missed call to the number for the PF number, and they'll get their balance on their mobile. So this is related to PF and ESIC Act. So I'm open for question related to both.
Sir. Okay, regarding questions, we have a few queries. There is one interesting question. If I have a office cleaner who comes in, say early in the morning, cleans my office, half an hour he's out of the office, and he's doing such work for another, say 5 offices. So one, am I supposed to register him for ESIC? Yes. Then are all the 5 offices supposed to register him for ESIC?
See, as per this, if he's registered with any organization, then his number cannot be linked with any other organization. Okay, so first one, if you are paying him as an salary or wages, so at a time of inspection, we have that process that we can say that he is our cleaner for the 2 hours. But as per law, they said if any person pertaining to any day or any hours in your establishment, it should be registered in the ESIC Act. As per the ESIC Act, they said you have to opt services from those only who's registered under ESIC. Otherwise, you will have to bear ESIC amount on that amount. You need not to register. You can directly pay their ESIC on their salary. Like if you are paying X amount to them. So under ESIC, there is provision you can pay as an if their salary ESIC contribution directly, like as an 4% of their amount as an employee or contractor.
So you are saying I can voluntarily register under ESIC and pay that ESIC contribution for him.
Yeah, if you have, this is applicable those who's registered under ESIC. If any establishment having 20 and more employees and they are paying X amount, X wages to any employees, then all the employees need to be registered. If any company is not registered under ESIC, then need not to worry.
Okay.
Yeah. If compliant with 20 employees, then only this comes. Otherwise, no issue.
Okay. Achha, you mentioned in your submission that I can do a voluntary registration for PF.
Yeah, correct.
Can I also do a voluntary registration for ESIC?
Yeah, recently, earlier it was not available. Like you need to submit 20 employees detail on the portal, then only you used to get registration. From 2019, you can have voluntary registration on ESIC. If you have 4 employees, 5 employees, you can register as a voluntary under ESIC Act.
Okay, and what will be my liability will be the same wise, is it?
Yeah, right. But once you register, whatever service you are taking from the contractor, any contractor who is engaging their labor in their work, so as per the law, you should take that services from the now register contractor under ESIC Act. If he is not registered, then you are liable to pay ESIC on their wages. Like suppose if I have any contractor who's employing employee for binding purpose, and they will bill having their material cost and labor cost. So ESIC is applicable on that labor cost. You will have to pay 4% on their labor cost. Else, if it is not, cost is not separately mentioned, ESIC office directly calculated 25% on their total bill, like wages as an employee, and they'll charge you as per the ESIC Act. So under the inspection, whenever we submit our books of account, there is an contractor payment, any other payment is there. So these attract to more contribution, more penalties, more damages. Like if you are not paying that at a similar time, like the bill was dated for the so and so month, then ESIC will charge interest and damages from that month as well. Okay, so for the ESIC, client registered under ESIC, you will have to make sure that their contractor are compliant under ESIC. So we at least, many times it's not possible for the client to maintain all the contractor details. So we ask them to at least maintain 60% of your contractor as per the ESIC Act. So if you are not able to make 100%, but make at least 60%. So we can have the documentation and that all the records of that contractor. So we can show it at the inspector, and that time we can do something.
Okay. We'll come to our next question. The question is a CA firm, like, I'm having a CA firm. I have got 5 staff and 5 articles. So primarily, am I covered under ESIC?
No, CA firm need not to cover under ESIC. There is an Supreme Court judgment. Okay, CAs are excluded under ESIC. If okay, but PF is applicable if a CA firm employing 20 and more employees.
Okay. Now, in the same premises, let us say I have one more family member carrying on. Let us say my wife is carrying on one more activity. So now, total staff strength of me as well as my wife should be calculated, or is it to be calculated individually?
See, if the proprietor is same, and if partnership firm is there, any one of proprietor is from that belonging partnership firm. Many times it happens having 2 galas and doing similar activities, or one gala with the 2 entities. If we do not have separate record, like if we do not have salary register, independent, if the inspector have rights, they'll directly put a remark, I found 20 employees at this premises, 10 employees in any factories. Okay, they can have, then you will have to fight with the court. They were not our employee, this is separate entity. So we usually suggest that you can keep individual records for all at a time. Whenever inspector visits, this is another proprietary firm, and this is another. If proprietor is same, then this cover under the same entity, and they'll ask you for the registration. If inspector put the remark that both are 10 or 20 employees from the same premises, then under the, if you fight in the court, there is no way. Like many of employer have appeal with the labor court, ESIC court, such type of cases, but there is no any output comes. But further that period, if your case is stand for 2 years, 3 years, ESIC office will charge interest and damages for 3 years. So it is as per the 25 and 12%, 37%. Okay, so it is suggested if they have put remark that if you have 20 employees and you have to register, then we have to register or settle it at the same time. So they, as per don't ask them to put any remark as anyway. Okay, in that case only we can survive.
Okay, like, so now you say proprietor is same, then there is an issue. But if I have, say, 5 different companies in the same premises,
yeah,
so company becomes an individual entity. So if I have proper records, company,
nature of business is different for each and every entity, then only it is not covered. But if same similar type of things are doing, like someone having process with the different set, then the inspector have rights to cover them under ESIC Act. So for that sake, they have appointed inspectors, and this key. So for they want, inspector always want more coverage, more employees covered under the Act. So whenever they found that nature of activity is similar but having multiple companies, so in that case they say no, you have to treat as a one unit, you have to register under ESIC Act.
Okay. Now there's one more query, new one. See, as we know, the threshold limit for PF salary threshold is 15,000, right? So now, if if I have people having salary above 15,000, as far as I remember, there is some provision of limiting your PF liability to some 1,800 rupees. Can you just elaborate on that part, please?
Yeah, PF ceiling is 15,000 rupees. Like anyone earning more than 15,000, like suppose take an example of any employees having 25,000 gross salary. So out of that, we are kept and 12,000, 50% as an basic plus DA, 12,500 rupees, 50% as on again HRA, like around 5,000 rupees, and the remaining part is a special allowance. For the calculation of PF, PF should be calculated on 20,000. Okay, as in 12 after if we remove HRA as a excluded, okay, so 20,000 is a PF ceiling, PF wages, but company have rights to make it ceiling at 15,000. Earlier it was 6,500 before 2014, like we used to deduct only 780 rupees, so now it is 1,800. It is an employer call if they have to contribute more or not. Like if employee want to contribute more, they have option under VPF, but as an employer do not want to contribute more, they can ceiling their contribution 1,800. So 15,000 ka 1,800 employee deduction or 15,000 ka 1,800 employer deduction. So no one can claim you कि मुझे 20,000 रुपया basic है, so you deduct my PF on this. So they have kept ceiling कि जिनका less than 15,000 से उनका 12% of जो भी PF wages है उसके ऊपर आएगा. जिनका more than 15,000 है, कंपनी हैव टू डिसाइड कि उनका 1,800 करना है या एंटायर बेसिक पे करना है, जो भी 25,000 30,000 रहेगा. Okay, so this is,
so that is an option left to me, but then I can always have, like, let us say I've got 20 employees below 15,000 and another 10 employees above 15,000. So for the above ones I can limit it to 1,800, and for the below 15,000 I can do the calculation.
correct, yeah.
Okay, then okay, as on date, what is the total number of employees registered under the ESIC and how many are really taking benefit, as generally people dislike going to the dispensaries prescribed by ESIC?
Recently from last 2 years, ESIC office has more convenient for the employees benefit. Like they have settled as on date more than 8 crore subscriber under ESIC Act. Okay, so every company is having more 20 employees, they have to take on their compliance part. If they are fail to comply, they'll have to bear that damages and interest. So maximum companies out of 100%, we can say around 80% of companies doing compliances under ESIC Act. 20% are waiting for their whenever they'll get notice or unawareness or anything. So that time they'll do. But maximum companies covered. Out of that, many of employees getting currently the ESIC office hospitals were not been well, like they were not having in everything on their places. So they have come with the new tie-up scheme. So they are going to the tie-up hospital. They are getting similar benefit as an private hospital. Okay, employees have to just go there. They not to pay anything, any single rupees. They'll avoid that all the. I say Hirandani's hospital also covered under ESIC Act, and there is a list also available on the portal. Employee can get benefit, and for their day-to-day medical care, they also type. Earlier क्या होता था कि hospitals के bills clears नहीं होते थे ESIC department से, doctors के पैसे जो है दिए नहीं जाते थे time पे, but currently they have rescheduled it कि जो भी उनके claims है वगैरह earliest way settle हो रहा है. It's taking 2 months 3 months but settle हो रहा है. और used to क्या होता था कि बहुत टाइम तक हॉस्पिटल्स को पैसे नहीं मिलते थे या कुछ नहीं होता था, बट अभी दे आर initiative, like central government is daily following on this ESIC and PF. Like in this COVID situation, the PF office every day they have to send that settlement reports to the central ministry कि हमारे PM office कि ये हो रहा है. ESIC office also have to send that COVID-19 की situation है, हमने यहाँ पे ये करवा है. So you have seen lots of benefit as implemented recently under ESIC. This is because of follow-up from the Labor Ministry, okay, or they are pressurizing all these social security service providers ki you are made for the employees benefit, and you have to make them awareness of that all the benefit everything. So that's why this comes with this lots of benefit, and they are giving like maternity benefit. All the establishment are getting maternity benefit apart from any other benefit for every woman from the all the establishment they are getting. So last year they are around in crores number of crores claim they have settled in rupees for the maternity. So all other cash benefit all the employees are getting in their bank directly within a 1 month. So because of that, their initiative comes with the grievance portal. member can visit on every second Wednesday and Friday to any respective department. They can officer have to wait for them, and officer have to give reason for non-settlement in writing. Earlier क्या होता था कि 6 महीना क्लेम प्रोसेस नहीं होते थे, बट अभी विद इन 2 month अगर कोई बेनिफिट वहां पे अवेलेबल नहीं है तो दे रिफर टू द प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल और एनीथिंग, सो दैट्स बेनिफिट आल्सो जो है रिइंबर्समेंट का वो उनको मिलता है. तो अभी उसका रेशियो बहुत अच्छा बढ़ा है एंड दे आर वर्किंग हार्डली ऑन इट.
Okay, good. Okay, continuing to the previous question, that 1800 part, there is a question come up like earlier I did not know about the 1800 provision. I was paying as per the percentage, but now that I know that there is a provision of 1800, can I discontinue those people and bring them to 1800?
From 2014 September 2014 there is an earlier क्या होता था कि एक बार अगर आपने so and so amount PF का डिडक्ट कर दिया तो you cannot reduce. बट आफ्टर 2014 अगर अर्लियर आपका 3,000 रुपया किसी का पीएफ डिडक्शन हो रहा था, XYZ अमाउंट पे 12% 3,000 रुपीज डिडक्ट हो रहा था, सो यू कैन नॉट. बट आफ्टर 2014 का जो उन्होंने नोटिफिकेशन है उसके बाद में यू कैन एट एनी फाइन, जब भी इनिशियल हम सजेस्ट करते हैं एट अ ईयर, जब भी फेब टू मार्च खत्म हो जाता है और उनका जो न्यू कंट्रीब्यूशन पीरियड चालू होता है तभी से हम उनको रिस्ट्रिक्ट टू 1800. सपोज अर्लियर उनका पीएफ था 3,000 रुपया, तो अभी हम जब भी न्यू फाइनेंशियल ईयर मार्च से चालू होगा तभी हम उनको रिड्यूस 1800 पे केप्ट कर सकते हैं.
Preferably do it after the end of the financial year.
करेक्ट, बिकॉज उनके जो अकाउंटिंग है उसमें वो डिस्प्ले नहीं होता है और वो जो चांसेस है इंक्वायरी आने का, शो कॉज आ गया तो वी कैन हैव दैट प्रोविजंस एवरीथिंग कि ऐसा ऐसा इसके लिए हमने किया, बट टू अवॉइड एवरीथिंग सो वी सजेस्ट कि आप फाइनेंशियल ईयर के एंड में कीजिए तो वो कभी आएगा ही नहीं उसके रिकॉर्ड्स में.
Okay. Now this is the last query as of right now. Is there any prescribed breakup for salary?
Yeah, as per पीएफ ऑफिस के जो दो है, एक तो गाइडलाइन जो पीएफ ऑफिस ने इशू की है, उन्होंने बताया कि फॉर द सेक ऑफ डिडक्शन यू कैन नॉट कीप 50% लेस देन 50% एज एन बेसिक, कि आप और 50% सॉरी मैक्सिमम नहीं कर सकते. अगर किसी का 30,000 ग्रॉस सैलरी है तो मुझे उनका बेसिक जो है बेसिक प्लस डे 15,000 से ऊपर नहीं रख सकता हूँ, लाइक 50% होना चाहिए. अगर वे पीएफ में एम्प्लॉयज को वाइडर वे कवर करना है, लाइक टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ 25,000, अगर उसका 25,000 सैलरी है तो मैं उसका बेसिक प्लस डीए 16,000 नहीं रख सकता है टू ऑप्ट आउट फ्रॉम इन आउट ऑफ पीएफ. कि अगर मुझे उसको ऑप्ट आउट करना है तो मुझे कंपल्सरी उसका ग्रॉस मोर देन 30,000 ही दिखाना पड़ेगा. इंस्पेक्शन में ये रिमार्क अभी आ रहा है कि अगर पहले क्या होता था कि टू एम्प्लॉयज को अगर पीएफ में कवर नहीं करना है, प्रायर 2014 इट वाज लाइक 6,500 का ही पीएफ एंड बेसिक था ना, तो बेसिक प्लस डीए 9,500 या 10,000 रुपया दिखा देते थे तो उनको पीएफ एप्लीकेबल नहीं होता था. बट ये अभी ध्यान में आ गया कि बेसिक बढ़ा के दिखाता है बिकॉज पीएफ में उनको कवर नहीं करना है इसलिए. तो इट इज सजेस्टेबल कि अगर आपका सैलरी 28,000 30,000 नहीं है ग्रॉस का तो एम्प्लॉय को पीएफ देना ही है आपको, क्योंकि उसका अगर 28,000 का 50% हम कैलकुलेट करें तो 14,000 आता है. तो इन फ्यूचर में पीएफ ने बीच में 2018 एंड 19 में पीएफ में कंपनी से रिकॉर्ड मंगवाए थे कि कौन से आपकी कंपनीज जो है उनको रिकॉर्ड देने थे कि आपकी ग्रॉस सैलरी कितनी है, आपकी बेसिक सैलरी कितनी है, एंड दे हैव सजेस्टेड कि आप आगे से ऐसा मत करो, इन फ्यूचर में हम इसके ऊपर आपको क्वेश्चंस कर सकते हैं, इन फ्यूचर में आपके ऊपर प्रोसीडिंग भी कर सकते हैं, आपको लाइबिलिटी भी आ सकती है. सो वी ऑलवेज सजेस्ट कि अगर आपके पास 28,000 के नीचे वाले बंदे हैं तो उनको पीएफ में कवर करो. मोर देन 28-30,000 है, सो यू कैन शो देम बेसिक एज 15,500 16,000 एंड यू कैन ऑप्ट आउट फ्रॉम पीएफ.
Hello, Aniket sir.
Yeah.
Vilas sir has a question for you. I have unmuted him.
Okay.
Vilas sir, go ahead.
He is to unmute. Mr. Vilas, can you please unmute yourself?
I don't think he had raised his hand, so I think so. I'll unmute him and lower his hand once. You can continue.
This brings us to the close of the question and answer session. Sir, I'd like to propose a vote of thanks. I really appreciate the language that you have used. Very simple, no technical jargons thrown. very easy to understand. And this 1800 matter was really a question for me also with my clients. I always had that gray area, like, am I doing right or not? Though I was doing the right thing now that you confirmed it. So
prior to 2014, it was not advisable. Okay, but after 2014, there comes with all the assignment. VF office has mentioned all that you can do that as an 1800 ceiling for all the employees when they have enhanced their limit from 6,500 to 15,000. So from that point, this is allowed.
Right. So I would like to thank you for this presentation. Very, very informative, cleared all the doubts. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.